Now we're going to design a character as a team, and we're just straight up going to use the Kirby Craft move from the outsider to design the ship. So with this, we can either come to like a consensus on what the 2 strengths and 2 weaknesses are. If you all want to do 3 and 3 or 4 and 4, I'm totally down. But if anyone has ideas on like what's the ship look like, what's the ship like, let's just get a general idea on it. You are all going to have access to like the mechanical Kirby Craft move as well when dealing with this ship.
So this is a ship that the 4 of us own?
Yep, this is going to be what you all end up in. Like probably where we're going to start our issue. You know, kind of your core transport. So probably provided by Saber, but if you want to have modified it before we open up the story, like, yeah. It is entirely up to you all what we do with this ship.
I mean, I was kind of picturing that we were in, you know, like some kind of space station where lots of people are. Although I guess we also do need a ship for to go on missions.
Okay, yeah, even if we're in a spaceship or a space station, I want you to have a ship for the team as well.
I think our ship is kind of like Megazordy in that I think that like we each get like a small ship and they can all link together and become something bigger.
I love that.
Like I think we each get a pod, but like when the pods all link together, it's like you can move from one to the other and they can like work together. That's like a kitchen pod and a pod that's like a
I vote that all of the ships look like USB sticks, and then the main engine that they all plug into is like a USB charger.
Ooh, I love that for like the space shuttle itself.
Now, do you really trust Jet to drive his own ship? I don't mind if you do.
I think maybe like there are times where we ride as a unit, and I think that like more often than not, when we split off, we grow in groups of 2, and so like we'll go 2 and 2 together.
Yeah, I feel like for long distances, we would all like stick together, especially if we're going super fast, and then like once we're closer to a destination, then we can split off.
I could totally go 2 and 2 with myself.
That's true.
I didn't know what to expect out of this, but it definitely wasn't a modular ship, but I'm so into it. Is that where we want to lean with it?
I'd like to start with a weakness too.
In the end, we're going to pick 2 strengths and 2 weaknesses from this, so...
Yeah, I'd like to propose a weakness. Bizarre fuel source, Stardust.
Oh, poor Ovi. Or, no, not Ovi. Poor Mal.
I'm going to be so mad the day that I have to fuel this ship by standing near the engines.
Are we locking that in?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. I think for the other weakness, maybe susceptible to, I'm not sure exactly how to phrase it, but I feel like when we're all split off into our own pods, we're weaker.
Mm-hmm.
I'm into that.
I'd also love to suggest that like the pieces that connect them together are easily broken.
Yes, I love that.
Actually, I don't think they're difficult to repair. I think they're easily broken. I think it's susceptible to like breakage.
I think for strengths, I feel like fast and maneuverable fits, especially when we're in our separate pods.
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel like we trade off with when we're apart, we're weaker, but we're a lot faster.
I think telepathic makes sense for the crafts like individually coming to us.
And that would also make communication between the pods easier too.
Mm-hmm.
And then for the third, maybe powerful weaponry.
I was kind of thinking for the third that because they're modular, we each get our own for the third one.
Okay.
Would that work for you, I see?
I'd be totally down. Before we do that, is everyone good with the other advantages chosen?
Yeah, I like that.
Sure.
I'm in, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Tell me what your pod's advantage is.
Mine's dimension shifting.
I love it.
Mine's regenerating. I think that oftentimes I launch like star power energy through the pod and use that as a weapon, which kind of destroys the pod pretty frequently, but it can regenerate itself.
You might imagine mine as powerful weaponry.
I'm so excited to see what that means that I'm not going to ask.
Unless Mason wants powerful weaponry.
Mine's size shifting. Basically, what's really happening is that we're rebuilding and reconfiguring it really fast. So mine can change size on short notice.
I love that. Okay, I think we are ready to go through when our team first came together. So this is when the greater team came together. It sounds like Mal and Ovi or Avi? Sorry. Oh yeah, what's the
Ovi.
ship's name? Okay, cool.
I feel like I want the name to be related to its modularness.
Let's call it the Universal Ship Brigade.
I see what you
God
did
damn
there.
it.
I love the small pause it took you guys to figure it out.
All right, Moon Harbor's canceled. Everyone go home. It's entirely up to you all. I'm disavowing all responsibility on this choice.
I'm down for the name.
USB. USB.
We're like an hour in and I already ruined the session.
No,
love it.
made it infinitely better.
Okay, so we're gonna set the fight. This is when it sounds like Ovi and Mao were already together, or have already known each other. Did Jet and Mason meet on the moon? However we do this, this is when everyone was first together. And we're gonna start with the bull question. We defeated a dangerous enemy. Who or what was it?
Wouldn't it be cool if it was one of them robots from the signal light?
Ooh, what were those
I'm down
called?
with that.
The gray.
Didn't they have a moon base or something? Didn't somebody have a moon base?
Oh yeah, that was the Lunar Wharf thing. It could be that you helped me escape from the Lunar Wharf research center. Oh, maybe they were doing experiments on you.
Maybe I sent out the distress signal because I was going to pick up some construction materials from their side, and I saw that you were in trouble because they were doing experiments on you. And then Saber sent in Ovi and Mal. Does that work?
Yeah.
I'm down.
Works for me.
Let's start with the outsider as a group question. We didn't trust each other at first, but that changed. How and why?
I feel like part of it might be that we were struggling between two of us were from Earth and two of us were on the moon. And so two of us already knew each other, but there was still like this divide between us.
I guess there would also be then a secondary divide where it's like contemporary humans versus the alien and future people.
I think there's something to the Lunar Wharf Research Center was kind of like a common enemy of all of us. So like we didn't trust each other, but we came together at least to come against this common enemy. And then in doing so, like over the course of the fight, like grew into trusting each other.
Maybe the super classic, like you're both fighting against them for different reasons and interpret each other as enemies and then realize this. Does that work?
That works for me.
Yep.
Jet, Mason, any input?
I'm good.
Is the Lunar Wharf that organization? Is the organization called the Lunar Wharf, or is that just the like space station? Is it like owned by a different organization?
I think it's the name of the location.
So then who like currently occupies it? Like who built the Lunar Wharf? Who are the science people who fucked Jet up?
Is the whole of Lunar Wharf like owned by one company? That's that company that made Jet? Or is it like rental space on the moon, kinda?
Okay. So more specifically, what I see it is Lunar Wharf is like another moon harbor, and this transportation research facility is just one thing in that place.
Okay. I like
I'm
that
kinda
a lot,
into that.
actually.
Yeah. So Lunar Wharf is like it's not as big as a city, let's say, but it's like a city district with, and then the Saber moon base that was almost completed is like right outside of the city, and then inside of the Lunar Wharf somewhere is a research facility, something like that. Then
A slight alteration to that. I think that Lunar Wharf is shaped just like Moon Harbor is, in that it's shaped like a crescent with like around what would have been a bay, but on the moon is like a giant crater. And I think the Saber base is inside that crater.
Hell yeah.
I like
Love
that.
it.
I like that a lot.
Because it also ties into the whole like all of the Saber bases are underground on Earth.
Do they call a lot of the craters on the moon Seas of Blank, or is that just the one?
This one is called something Sea of.
Okay, so just for what? Who was the end answer on your bull question? The dangerous enemy defeated?
The security at the facility that tried to keep me in.
I think they have like a merc hero for hire or villain for hire kind of thing, who is like specifically the security for that facility. I think we have like one specific person.
Yeah, that would be a lot nicer.
Anyone have ideas?
His name is Bello. He is a sound villain and like uses like sound waves to like send people flying. And because there's no gravity on the moon, there's no like way to stop you. So he can essentially like launch you into the air and just like launch you out of orbit.
I feel like his real name is actually Bello. It's like Ernst Bello or something like that.
Ernst Bello is a great name.
I'm into it.
Love it.
I'm going to jump to the transformed question.
Cool.
We drew attention and ire from plenty during the fight. One important person in particular now hates and fears us. Who is it?
I think the head of this organization that was like studying transportation and such is a mysterious figure only known as the Siren. We know nothing about them except for the fact that like they own this company and they are like they're definitely a cape. And I think like they are also sound based. I think they send like, but their thing is like they can like whisper and communicate across like great distance. And I think they like sent us a message after we saved Jet, and they were like, "I know what you did," and they're coming after us. Or they said like, "I know what you did. Watch your back," kind of thing.
This company needs a name at this point.
What was the name of this person?
Siren.
Siren. Okay.
So we have Bello and Siren because
That is the last sound-based hero we are allowed to make for our space-based game. I'm just putting my foot down right now.
That's fair.
I think the
No
company
more sound, no more electricity.
I think the company should be called Space Acoustics. That deafening silence, though.
No, I'm with you. I didn't have anything to add. I think Space Acoustics is great.
I think Icy's being slightly deliberately silent.
No, I'm chuckling and looking through this
my
list
God.
of questions to decide where to go next.
Space Jam, I'm dying.
I think their like nickname is SpaceX, but it's like ACS SpaceX.
Oh god, I love it. Okay. I'm gonna ask the protege question, but we already know part of the answer in that Saber stuck you all in a team. But I am gonna ask we stuck together after all was said and done. Why and how did we keep in contact?
I kind of think we took Jet in because we thought Jet was like hurt because we were like, oh, they did a lot of experiments on you. This is bad. And like we took Jet back to Saber. And then I think at that point we just like over the course of the travels back to the Saber headquarters and also like in checking in on Jet became friends that way. And I kind of like the idea of once we got assigned to be a team, Saber assigned us each one of these pods, which is like biometrically linked to us telepathically. And I think we can also communicate telepathically through the ships with each other.
We can't quite go conventional with like, yeah, we all shared cell phone numbers because we're in space.
How does everyone feel about it?
I'm down.
I'm down.
I also, since we know Saber is clearly only a good organization and there's definitely don't have any nefarious things in mind, I definitely am not at all worried about Saber having my biometric information.
No, absolutely.
Maybe we can also add that we have like some sort of like radio device on our wrists to keep in contact when we're not on the ship. That's probably just within short distances, but so that way, like if we go to a planet and we're away from the ship, we can still keep in contact.
Can I make a slight alteration to that?
Go for it.
I think we have the earliest prototypes of what your tattoo ends up becoming, of like your tattoo can scan things, but like we have the earliest prototypes in that like we have communicators tattooed onto us.
I love that.
So like we all have like a Saber tattoo on our wrist or whatever that like
And
can
like,
communicate with each other.
so we have to like hold our wrist up to our mouth to talk.
I wasn't thinking that, but now I am thinking that.
Yep.
And we need to answer the Harbinger and the Collective Playbook questions. I'm cool with you all answering those in either order you want.
Okay, I'll start. I violated someone's trust and gleaned a secret from their minds. Who was it and what was the secret? I'm going to say that when I first met Ovi, I involuntarily picked up a thought and it told me a secret, and that violated her trust and made her mad at me. And Ovi, you can pick what secret it was that I picked up.
I feel like the secret is that I recognize your species.
Ooh,
God damn it, I knew it.
Yep.
I love it.
So like not just mad that you got a divine mind this way, but also that you're who you are.
Oh, okay. And the Harbinger question.
Okay, so we averted a disaster from the Future's history books. What was the disaster? What effect do we hope on the timeline? My idea for this was that there was supposed to be a fifth person on this team, and we had to stop them from getting on because they were bad news.
Ooh, like they were there during the fight?
Probably. I feel like at some point during the fight, OV did remember that one of the goals was to not let this person on the ship.
So probably this person must have been one of the people on the moon and not one of the Saber operatives that were sent over.
Yeah, probably.
Let's talk about this person.
Yeah.
I think the hero that we stopped from, or that you stopped from coming, was RX, like prescription, like
I love that name.
right. And I think RX is like the kindest of all of us. I think like RX is like super sweet, super timid, very very kind, like just straight up just a healer. But I think you and I knew each other. Like they can't come with us, and I was like, but they're so nice. And you're like, but they can't come with us. And I was like, okay, they can't come with us. And we like left them behind in Lunar Wharf.
Yeah, and I feel like with what effect we hope it had on the timeline, it's that like without RX, hopefully we do not have this person that is going to make this mission worse. Like I think the goal was that this mission is salvageable without RX. And that if it's just the four of us, we might be able to make this work.
If RX had gone with us, RX would have been destined to essentially set us up for failure for the future.
Yeah, I feel like RX wouldn't have done it intentionally, though. I feel like it would have been totally an accident, but like not something that we could really prevent.
I'm going to ask a couple related questions to this. I think RX was in consideration by the same Saber group that ended up choosing all of you. And I think someone needed to turn in a report about why RX shouldn't be chosen. Who turned it in, and what was the primary reason that changed Saber's mind?
Probably OV. And I think like what changed her mind was like, okay, no, I do remember this piece of information, I swear. And I feel like they do believe her on that. I feel like she's had a couple of memories pop up in the couple months since she's been in the present that they're like, okay, she's serious.
Okay, cool. I just wanted to know who's most to blame.
I had another thought. I kind of think that Ovi was the one who was like, they shouldn't come. But I think Mal planted something on them to get them like kicked out of the program.
Ooh, what'd you plant?
Yeah, I could see Saber pushing back and refusing to take that as a valid reason.
Saber refusing to take her stealing something as a valid reason?
No, as in the Ovi being like, they just can't.
Yeah, I think Saber was like, that's dumb. And I was like, yeah, but they're also a drug addict. And I think there's a drug, like a prescription drug harvested from Moonrock that is like a like really intense painkiller. And I think RX had probably never taken it, but I like planted it on them.
I'm into it. Do we need any more clarification from this, or do we all have a good feeling about it?
Love it.
We can jump back to relationships then.
Wait, so hold on. Before we go too much further, I just want to clarify. We were in Lunar Wharf. Ovi and I were working together. Jet was being experimented on, distress signal, and Mason showed up to help. We collectively came together to defeat Space Axe and
Bello specifically.
Bello specifically. And then because Jet was like experimented on and possibly hurt, we took everyone back to Saber and became a team there. Yeah?
Yep.
Cool. Just wanted to reiterate I was on the same page as everyone.
I think it was Mason who sent the distress signal, like details, whatever.
Yeah, I work in Lunar Wharf, so I would have been the one to signal Saber and say, hey, there's something going on.
Oh, cool. Sounds good.
Cool. And does anyone have any ideas for who your immediate supervisor is, the person you report to most often?
So I think it should probably be a sound-based superhero.
Oh my god. I feel like this person is directly in charge of our mission. Like his entire job is like supervising this.
I feel like to round off the whole sound theme, maybe this person could be a mute that talks in sign language, but still has insane amounts of authorities over the base he's running.
I love the idea of a deaf scientist as the main character or the main like supervisor.
Yeah, and I like the idea that everybody is super scared of him and listens to him, and even though he's signing.
Do we have a name, and where do we want to locate like central base?
I think his name is Dr. Henry Child.
Cool. I'm down.
I'm into that.
Do we want to like have our base at the Saber base?
I'm kind of thinking that wasn't there a space station that we made in Signalite? I think it was called like the International Superstation or something.
Yes, we did make that.
Yeah, we could do it so in the International Superstation housed a module that was the temporary headquarters for the space branch of Saber, but they've very recently started slowly moving over to the moon base, which is now almost completed.
So on the space station, but being moved to the moon base.
I think they're in the process of moving to the moon base.
Or maybe that's just Saber that's moving to the moon base, but like I feel like it would make sense for our mission to be based on the space station because that sounds like it would be easier for docking a ship versus landing on the moon and then having to launch off.
I'm totally okay with Saber having a presence in both places, and you guys are stationed on the one you want.
What if the head office was based in a space station, but they recently moved it to the moon base? So the module of the space station where the now branch of Saber is housed is like super empty and a bit weird. Nobody wants to go there to get their mission.
That sounds great. I love that.
Yes.
Yeah, I feel like that'd be a cool place for us to like stop in and out when we're coming back.
Every time we go in there, you just hear.
It's up to you to make it haunted. We ready to jump into relationships?
Hell yes.
Yeah, let's go.
Who wants to start?
I would like to start because I think I got it filled in already. Okay, so I have two that I have to fill in, and I'm gonna pick Tony Stewart was the first person whose mind I felt because that's how I figured out that somebody was in trouble. And then the first person to trust me, knowing what I was, and well, it's obviously not gonna be Ovi, and I think it's gonna be Mal actually, because they wouldn't be as judgmental of anything. So when they figured out I'm an alien, I can kind of read minds, sorta. They wouldn't be too upset about that. So that's the first person that trusts me within the team. Is that good for you guys?
Yeah, I think personally that like I'm just so focused on like I'm on a mission, I have a specific goal in mind, and I'm like, you are you, just don't get in my way kind of thing. I think I treated you with the same like level of like distance that I treat kind of everyone.
Yeah, which is also the way that I treat people. So I think we would get along, and that we're both very utilitarian and focused, mission based.
Mm-hmm. Cool. I can go next. Was Jet living in Lunar Wharf when Jet got picked up, or was Jet living on Earth when he got picked up?
On Lunar Wharf.
Okay, cool. Then the only option for this one is Ovi knew me before I changed.
Well, if you changed when you were really young, I think Ovi's only been in the present for a couple months.
That's a good point. I don't know if I could put anyone for that one.
Yeah.
You could have
You
been
could have
Tony,
known
'cause-
Jet long ago.
Yeah.
And actually, that would make it easier for me to answer one of my relationships.
Yeah, I think like before you moved to Lunar Wharf, because Lunar Wharf has only been open for like 7 or 8 years. I think like we like went to elementary school together.
Perfect.
Okay, every time the school question's brought up, private elementary school or...
Oh, I went to a private school.
Sorry, I just want to continue the tradition from the Moon Harbor side games.
I love that question so much.
I went to the Moon Harbor Academy for Extraordinary Children. It's a 1st through 8th grade kind of school.
Somehow they missed you were extraordinarily on fire.
I stopped going.
Ooh-la-di-da.
I guess I got in with athletic skill.
What was your next relationship?
Blank comforted me when I was at my lowest. I think it's going to be Ovi. I think like Ovi's like, you are not in fact the cause of the world going to hell. So nothing you could do could be as bad as that.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I imagine that like it was probably when we first got our ships and like when I was when I realized that they're powered by Stardust, because everyone's like, "Oh, that's such an easy to access resource," I was like, "Yeah, it's made of Stardust. Great, just another way that I'm a freak." And I think it was like that was kind of like a trigger, and I think I kind of spiraled from there.
Yeah, I feel like Ovi would have gone and tried to help you out.
Who wants to go next?
I can go. So, to get the other side of that, Mal is my rival. They tried to control me at a crucial moment. Way back in the grade schools of yore, probably I was trying to cheat on some test or something, and Mal figured out and told on the teacher.
Oh yeah, they are definitely the kind of person who would tattle.
Yep. And my other one, Ovi is your love. You've opened up to them about the worst parts of your past, which you know a body part he thinks with most of the time. So there's one person he would try to talk to the most. And then the love and rival these can change at any point throughout the game.
And I highly, highly recommend you change them just as often as you want to switch up the drama.
Yep.
Yeah, speaking of drama, since you put Ovi as your love, does Tony have a crush on Ovi? Or is this just platonic?
He may or may not, but probably the only factor that went into this was Ovi's gender.
Okay.
He's just a douchebag.
That's totally fair. I'm just trying to think of like how awkward this could be to play since she's gay. And I feel like she's also still adjusting to being in the present. So this could be really fun to play out.
I mean, if you're going to have a Wolverine character, you might as well make the love triangles doomed. And Ovi's relationships.
Yes. It took me a bit to figure them out. And I guess to make all of that drama with that relationship crazier, Tony turns away from the hero's path according to your history books. You have to prevent that from happening.
Yes.
I could see that.
Yep. So I feel like that's also why we're hanging out. And for my other one, you've always looked up to Mal, but it's too awkward to admit it to them now that you've met them in real life. Keep it cool. Keep it cool.
This entire team is so hype.
I also like that now that you've met them in real life, it's just hard to look up to them.
Yeah, even better.
To look into them.
I want to know who I am in the future, because I think Mal is around in the future, and I need to know.
Yeah, I guess I should have also mentioned that Ovi is from about 50 years in the future. So I feel like there's a lot of potential for her to have met significantly older versions of people we will meet, both like on the team and throughout this game.
And let's do one last round for influence.
I can go first. You try not to care what other people think, even if you can't shut everyone out. Give influence to one teammate. I think it's Ovi.
Cool.
I actually want to give influence, even though I don't need to. I want to give it to Tony, too. I think just the fact that Tony knew me before is important to me.
Every member of your team has the power to change the future, your future. Give everyone influence over you. So, all of you get influence.
Okay, Jet gives influence to his love and his rival, so that would be Mal and Ovi.
Okay, so at this point I should maybe explain how influence works for the collective, but we kind of have to keep track of it, because whenever I have influence over somebody, they automatically get influence over me, and vice versa. So I have to select somebody I have a connection with. So in this case, because I touched Ovi's mind, and because we do share a connection, I think it would be Ovi. So Ovi, you also have influence over me now.
Yes, I already gave influence to you.
Yeah.
Mine.
So I would have had it anyway, but
yes.
It means you get it too.
Yeah, I actually have influence to and from everybody on this team. That's so cool.
Moon Harbor Extended is part of the Icy New Year Presents network and is produced by Anthony Sheets and TP Huth. Anthony can be found on Twitter at Icy New Year or at icynewyear.com. T is the host of Incubator on Air, a new play podcast available on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, and Google Play. She can be found at Huth Playwright on Twitter or TPHuth94 on Instagram. This issue was GM'd by me, Anthony Sheets. Jet is played by EXPHP. You probably won't find him at It's EXPHP on Twitter, but it's worth a try. Mason is played by Simon Meskins. You can find him on Twitter as @Gilberecki. Portali is played by Elliot Peterson. She can be found at Elliot Yellen on Twitter. Stardust is played by T. Huth. Our logo was designed by Beautiful Beasties. She can be found on Instagram at beastly.doodles or at patreon.com/beautifulbeasties. The music for this issue was Work by Kevin MacLeod. A link to his license and site will be found in the episode notes. If you want to get a hold of us, email us at moonharborheroes@gmail.com or find us on Twitter at moonharborcast. If you enjoyed this issue, please leave us a review on iTunes and tell a friend. Word of mouth and 5-star reviews are really the best way for us to keep bringing these stories to more people. If you'd like to support us financially, check us out on patreon.com/moonharborheroes. Supporting us there will give you access to bonus episodes each month. And thanks for helping us save the world. We'll see you next issue.